Why do we celebrate Pride? What does the Mafia have to do with it? Did trans people of color create Pride? What are the Stonewall riots? Time to find out. By the end of this video, you will know how to shut down anyone that says, why don't we have straight Pride?
Child. Anyway, so
I'm bringing you the facts, telling you the myths, and revealing what you need to know about Pride in the Stonewall Uprising, aka the Stonewall Riots. This took a lot of research, so please give me a like and subscribe if you support me. Time to get educated. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm DJ Krystal Lake. You might know me from my TikTok where I teach the things that school doesn't teach you. Comment below, TikTok family, if that's how you found me. Today we're going to learn about how we ended up celebrating Pride. I'm covering the Stonewall Uprising, aka the Stonewall Riots. To understand how serious this is, we're going to have to time travel. Number 3. Before Stonewall. It's the 1960s, and being gay has been officially marked as a mental disorder.
Medical procedures used to cure individuals from homosexuality include electroshock, lobotomy, castration, and hormone injection, just to name a few.
Homosexuality was also illegal in 49 states, which meant you were getting fined or thrown in jail if you were out. And let's not forget about the violence and unfair treatment that came along with it. Some people are trying to give gay people up to 20 years in prison just for being gay. LGBTQ plus people of all ages were getting kicked out of their homes, leading them to move to big cities with the hope of finding people like them and for more opportunities.
How old are you?
Yeah, 13.
13 and you out here at 220?
Yeah,
Where you live? And why you down here? Where's your mother?
Hanging out. I don't have a mother.
Everybody has a mother or we wouldn't be here. Where's your mother?
She's gone.
Where's your father?
He's gone too.
Sadly, they soon found out that big cities did not accept homosexuality either. In New York City, Mayor Robert F. Wagner Jr. put through a brutal campaign to shut down gay bars in New York. The New York State Liquor Authority jumped on board with this idea by saying they'll shut down those bars that didn't follow the rules. But what group was scary enough to get away with breaking the law? The Mafia. Here's how the Mafia got involved. But first, we interrupt this program to give you great news. My store is now having a sale. Find the link in the description or go to the website cutbykrystal.com/shop. Thank you so much for everyone that has bought some merch. The black hat is going on fire right now, so make sure you get it while it lasts. Make sure to grab my special edition Pride shirt as well. Don't be afraid to wear it all year round for the world to see. Now back to the show. Tucked away in a busy Manhattan street was a small, dingy bar named the Stonewall Inn. This was no ordinary bar for the 60s. This was a gay bar. The only gay bar in New York that allowed dancing. Let me clarify. The bar owner allowed dancing, but the law did not. The cops would still come through to shut the party down since all of that was still illegal. But how was it able to still run while breaking the law? Well, Stonewall Inn was run by the Italian Mafia. The owner's name was Fat Tony, and he bought the Stonewall Inn in 1966 and turned that straight restaurant into a gay bar. You might be thinking, why would he do that? Was the Mafia member a gay ally? Absolutely not. Fat Tony was a businessman and saw a cruel way of getting money. He knew the gays would be desperate to find a gay spot, so he created it. The Stonewall Inn was filthy.
It was a dump. It was a hellhole.
Dirty, rundown, mafia run.
A mafia sleazy bar, and they watered down drink.
Rich customers were a prime target for the Mafia. They'd get them to send them money, or the Mafia would threaten to out them to their family, friends, and job, which would leave most people at that time abandoned, lonely, and fired. Threatening the rich actually gave more money to the Mafia than the bar. The Mafia treated their customers like crap, but they knew that they could get away with it. They also knew that they could pay off the cops to avoid shutting it down. This is what made the Stonewall Inn a hotspot for the LGBTQ plus community. However, there were times when the cops came to shut it down. Staff would turn on the bright white lights to warn everyone that their bar was about to be raided by the cops. This was a cue to stop dancing, kissing, holding hands, dressing in drag, or the cops will come and get you. Unfortunately, many people did not act quick enough. The cops find these people with solicitation of homosexual relations. Men that were dressed in women's clothes were taken to the bathroom to verify their gender. Same for women who dressed in men's clothes. They were later arrested and beaten along with those who did not show ID. Sometimes the newspapers would even expose the customers and out them when they were caught by the cops. On top of that, the cops would beat and abuse them. But one night, the people of Stonewall Inn fought back. Number 2, the riot. The date is June 28, 1969. It's a Saturday night and Stonewall Inn customers were dancing the night away. What they didn't know was that undercover cops were there to check if people at the gay bar were doing gay things. They quickly found out, yeah, they were doing gay things in the gay bar.
Are you serious to me right now?
Those cops spread the word about this and 9 police officers stormed in to shut down the place. Everyone was pretty surprised because usually the cops would come at the very end of the night. But it was 1:20 a.m. and in New York time, that was still early for a night out. I know some of y'all are like, how 1:20 in the morning? I'm telling you, that is early in New York. People in London are looking at this like, comment below if 1:20 in the morning is early for you for a night out. The cops came in aggressively, yelling and pushing the crowd. Those who weren't caught in a homosexual act were forced out of the bar and told to go home. But for the crowd that was caught flirting or cross-dressing, the police demanded ID and told others to go to the bathroom to prove their gender. But this time, the crowd said no. And for the crowd outside, they did not go home. The crowd of people got bigger and they all stood in front of the Stonewall Inn. Then the cops started beating them, hitting them over the head with their batons. The more the crowd saw how badly beaten their peers were, the more angry they got. One lesbian drag king was clubbed over the head and dragged out of the bar. She yelled to the crowd, "Why don't you do something?" This is when the crowd fought back. This person was known as Stormy DeLavier and was said to be the one who kicked off the riot. People started throwing things at the abusive cops. Pennies, bottles, rocks, they threw whatever they could find. People from nearby bars came out to see what was going on and they ended up joining in. A construction site was nearby and then bricks started to be thrown. Some say trans activist Marsha P. Johnson was the first to throw a brick, but she responded,
I was uptown. I didn't get downtown till about 2 o'clock because when I got downtown, the place was already on fire and it was a raid already.
Then activist Sylvia Rivera was said to throw the brick, but she responded,
I have been given the credit for throwing the first Molotov cocktail, but I always like to correct it. I threw the second one. I did not throw the first one.
I'll talk more about those two later. It's a Stonewall mystery. To this day, no one has the official answer. But what we do know is during that fight, the cops were scared and outnumbered. So they ran back inside the bar for safety. They dragged in a few gay customers as hostage to keep them safe. That didn't work though because someone set the bar on fire. A huge army of police showed up as the cops inside called for help. There were already over 100 angry people outside. Everyone in the burning building was able to get out. The tactile police force came and formed a line to block the crowd. But to their surprise, the crowd also formed a line. But this line was a bit different. It was a kicking line that mocked the police officers. The crowd danced and sang,
"We are the Stonewall Girls.
We wear our hair in curls.
We don't wear underwear
to show our pubic hair."
Eventually, the night calmed down. Many people in the crowd were hospitalized, 13 people were arrested, and 4 cops were injured. Number 1, the aftermath. The next day, Stonewall was all over the news. The cops thought that this was over, but the news drew so much attention to that night that protesters started arriving outside of the Stonewall Inn to fight for equality. The crowd grew from hundreds to thousands of people, from gays to allies to tourists to people that just wanted to experience that moment. The newspapers described the LGBTQ+ community as wild and that they were the ones causing a riot. But you hear a different story from those that were there.
We were cheering and dancing in the street. That's not a riot.
It was just a loud and bawdy, fun group of guys until it turned into a riot.
The protests outside of the Stonewall Inn lasted for 5 days. Some even protested for about 7 days. Many new movements happened because of the Stonewall riots. The Gay Liberation Front and Pride were all the outcomes from this event, and many more came after that. All these groups made huge changes for the LGBTQ+ community.
The first gay pride was then organized 1 year after the Stonewall riots.
June 28, 1970. New York City wasn't the only place celebrating Pride. LA, San Francisco, and Chicago also joined the movement. Chicago actually started 1 day earlier. People were kissing in the street as well as marching for equality, and they marched with pride. Pride for who they are and letting go of the self-hatred. I linked a few amazing Pride gifts down below to help you celebrate Pride to the fullest. Activists like Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera marched for their rights as well. Although these two women didn't actually start the riot, they are important figures in the queer community. Trans people received hate even within the gay community. They were actually told not to come to the first Pride, but Marsha and Sylvia came anyway and marched for their community. They even created the STAR program, which stood for Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, where they would provide housing and support to homeless LGBT youth and workers. More and more people and activists started to take action and fight for their community. The world could not believe it. LGBTQ+ people were demanding their rights and slowly but surely getting what they demanded. There were gay groups before that fought for justice like the Mattachine, but it was never done like this before. That's not to say that the older groups like the Mattachine weren't important, because they did help give us the rights that we have today. But their approach was very traditional and peaceful.
The present laws give the adult homosexual only the choice of being heterosexual and legal or homosexual and illegal. This to a homosexual is no choice at all.
What type of laws are you after?
Let me say first of all what type of laws we are not after. There has been much to do that the society was in favor of the legalization of marriage between homosexuals and the adoption of children and such as that, and that is not at all factual at all. Homosexuals do not want that.
Are you a homosexual?
Yeah, well, that's yes and no. I was a homosexual when I was 14 years old, but I gave it up about, I forget, some years ago.
Whereas the newer generation of activists were in your face and fearless. They wanted all their rights, rather than just a few to fit into society's standards. They knew that they were normal, and it was society that had to fix their homophobic views. Pride is here to celebrate the LGBTQ+ community, but it's also here to recognize that we are still fighting that fight today.
He brought a gun to school and shot him in the back of the head.
This little boy who was murdered in a classroom full of students because he was gay. One of the most obnoxious vestiges of our criminal justice system is the gay panic defense. The idea that if a gay person makes a pass at you and you don't like it, you can fly into a rage, shoot and kill that person, and that's some kind of a defense. That would not be an acceptable defense in an American courtroom, and it's time for us to get rid of it altogether.
Two women were traveling on a city bus where they were assaulted by a group of men after they refused to kiss each other on demand. Homophobic hate crimes across London have almost doubled.
He was beaten just for being gay.
5 to 8 men attacked him.
At one point, I thought they was gonna kill me. Somebody said they had a gun.
A transgender YouTube star and her friends were the victims of a violent hate crime. Witnesses egged the suspect on instead of trying to help.
One of the victims is YouTube star Eden Estrada. She says people across the street were yelling out,
that they were trannies. That's when the man went ballistic, hitting one of the women over the head, knocking her out.
I'm screaming for help.
You can hear in the video people laughing at them.
I could see was people with cameras like laughing at me, telling me that they wish that he had killed me.
A massacre at a gay nightclub.
Oh my God. Mommy, I love you, writes her son, trapped in bathroom.
He said he was gonna die and he loved me. It's terrible. He's my only child.
Let's try to get rid of the hatred and the violence. Please.
We're celebrating those who fought for us years ago to make it possible to say, yeah, I'm gay and I love myself. Also, the Stonewall Inn is still up and running. It's now a safe space to celebrate, mourn, and gather to make changes. And on June 24th, 2016, President Obama named the Stonewall Inn and the area surrounding it where the Stonewall riots took place a national monument.
It's an arc of progress, and a lot of that progress can be traced back to Stonewall. So this week, I'm designating the Stonewall National Monument as the newest addition to America's national park system.
It's the first national monument to celebrate gay history in the United States. As for Pride, it's not just celebrated in New York or just in the United States, but around the world. We've come a long way from being arrested for holding hands. So make sure you remember that the next time you celebrate Pride. Please give this video a like and subscribe if this helped you learn something new. It's a great way to support this channel so I can continue making videos for you. Also, hit that bell so you can never miss an episode. And if you haven't voted for me for Dazed 100, please do that today. The link is below and the vote ends this week. I'm trying to grow this YouTube channel to heights that you have never seen. So please help me make my dream come true. You will get deeper videos and more people to tell their own stories. Issa Rae and Spike Lee are my inspiration, so that's where I'm trying to head with this channel. Also, don't forget to give my shop a visit. My Pride shirt is available and my black hat is on sale. I'm giving you 2 great items to make 2 big statements. You can also find some Pride gifts linked below. Thank you so much for watching and comment below if this helped you. This has been DJ Krystal Lake and I'll see you in the next episode.